Oh, that's what happened. All right. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late here, people. I had a small tech issue. I also have to go refill my drink, so I'll be back in 1 second. Let me mute so I don't have any weird ambient noise things happening. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Ensign. Hope the sound's still good. I just realized I was fiddling with my laptop to get it running for today's session again. I just realized how stupidly thirsty I was. I am definitely on the mend. I've done a lot of significant steps towards getting my health back all together. Doctors felt like the doctor was kind of like handling me instead of treating me initially. Um, but I think I kind of surprised her by how much of the work that I was expected to do I did in terms of like losing weight and getting healthier and changing my diet and everything. And I think I impressed her, so she's like really like stepped up and like doing all this amazing stuff to help me get through this as soon as possible. Thanks for asking. I'm still having like energy issues. I'm hoping to go up to 90 minutes, but if I go an hour, I'll be happy. I've been supplementing with I found a like nice long list of like things to help process energy when like you're going through a lot of stuff. So it's all good. I'm getting there. All right. So right off the bat, let's start with the books. It's been a while. So this just arrived. I backed this book on Zoop. Patrick Horvath has done the I think the most buzzy book from last year, Under the Trees Where No One Sees. It's the anthropomorphic serial killer book, and it was just really fun. And I haven't read it yet because it just arrived like 2 days ago. I don't remember, and this must have been a stretch goal edition. I got a nice little watercolor piece from him. So that's wonderful. It's a little piece of original art. I'm going to get a little frame for that and find a place to put it. It's a little gem of a thing. I like little pieces like this. I've done little commissions like that. So it's a lovely Under Trees Where No One Sees is very much a watercolor and ink book, and this is very much a digital color and ink book. And it looks like people forced to fight for welfare and or their lifestyle and everything. So I'm going to read that soon. So that's a nice little gem. This was fun. I did an 8-page Bigfoot story for Project Cryptid, which I think the series is wrapped or it's on hold or hiatus or something. And they ended up using a double spread from near the end of the story as the front and back cover for it. So and it's got this great. I mean, here's a ballsy move. Jamal Igle and this incredibly talented artist who I'm lucky enough to have do my flats when I need a flatter. And it's just this beautiful little black and white. Oh God, Juan Castro. And it's just a beautiful little story. It's nice to see Jamal's work in black and white like this. It's just gorgeous. And then I got to do this sucker all me in terms of the art. Good, solid, funny little story, and it's just a beautiful little book of short stories about cryptids. And so I'm just doing a quick flip. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like a lot of good art, a lot of fun stories. It's just great stuff. So I'm happy to be a part of that book from Ahoy, of course. And then this gem, holy shit! So I knew I was going to like this, right? As soon as I heard of this, I knew I was. I'm a sucker for Mike's approach to storytelling and fairy tales, and has a lot of the same early fantasy influences. So I got this, and I had to start going through it right away, and I'm savoring it. I'm not letting myself rush through it, but it's so full of these wonderful. What's the best way? Wonky? Would you say wonky? These wonky buildings that Mike draws and these wonky figures. It's the older he gets, the more unique his work gets. I understand where some people like he might have left them behind, but he's so special. He's so special and unique in how he approaches everything, and it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous. I haven't gotten this far. I better stop looking. But honestly, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. It's only $25 in the US, hardcover. $25 in the US, $34 in Canada. Get it if you can. It is a gem of a book. And I understand he's going to be doing at least one of these a year. And oh my God, I'm blanking on the other artist who's going to be doing, who's actually going to be building this world with him. I think it's, no, I better not say it because I'm going to screw up the memory because my memory's just shot. But this is beautiful. So these are the 3 books I want to talk about. And today I'm working on a commission for one of my Patreon supporters. He's here. Drawing is excellent so far. Thank you. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hi there, Joe. Hey, Joe. This is Joe's piece. Joe is not sure how many people. A few people here. So actually, Joe, if you got to let me know if you want to swap down to the $1 a month again, or you want another 11x17 in a year from now. So the deal was 3 of the commissions I'm going to be doing one after the other is on my Patreon. I created a tier so people could buy an 11x17 more busy commission. So thus all the towers and all this stuff and some input on the development of the image. I had some helpful input from Joe earlier today because I originally had too much leg coming too forward and it pushed Elsa way too far back. So I really like the talk Joe and I had to sort this out. I got some big chunky. I ended up rewatching Bride this morning, and I took a screen cap of one of the towers and I traced it off in detail, and I went, oh my God, I'm gonna be doing so many wonky lines of this. You can see how tight this is and how loose this is. And so after I traced this, I spent like an hour and a half on this stupid thing, like using my ellipse guides and all that stuff. And I went, what the hell am I doing? So I'm putting 2 in now because I spent all the time, and I just freehand sketched the rest of them because I know there's going to be all these lighting effects. But this is Elsa as the bride sitting up. There's a little bit of slippage. I'm probably not going to ink that today. So this is going to be so much fun. I have no idea where we're going to sign it. I might sign it in here with white paint because that might be the best place because I'm going to be doing all these lighting effects here. And it's really going to be this wonderful thing with like the white light. And that's the photo reference I use for her face. I'm going to give her a subtle little smile here. Excuse me, I'm really burping because my throat was so dry. And I start drinking and it's like still dry, but it's like now I'm burping. Yeah, so the idea is, if people step aside, there'll be an opening for another, take the $25 a month tier for 12 months, and then you get a nice big busy commission like this. But it's dependent on of any of the three people stepping aside, which they very likely do. That's $25 a month is lovely for me, but I know it can be a little difficult for other people. However, if there is increased demand, I can't open up new slots now because I don't want to overburden the termination date. So if a lot of people say yes, I will sign up, I will take the commission. In March or April, I'll open up 2 to 3 more slots if there's demand. But this is a joy. I think it's a lot easier because there's a bit of a discount because in terms I usually just do a single figure for the amount that this pays out. But because it's the commitment to the Patreon, commitment to me and supporting me, which I really have to appreciate, I go the little extra. I was tempted to put the bride in here, but I really wanted the lightning coming up, and there's going to be so much splatter effects it would screw up any lettering like that. And so we got our sexy Elsa, a little I changed the feature a bit, give her a little lift in the eyebrow and a little bit of a half smile, just to make her look like she's teasing. Okay, Craig, here we go. Oh, John, I'm really happy you like it. Impatient waiting for a copy of courses. Yes, I do. Isn't that beautiful? I was so tempted just to scan a couple and play around the inking them, but I'm just not built the same way that Mike lays down a line. I would totally mess it up. And I almost went down to New York for that show. It's yeah. And you probably can't see it in here, but I'm going to be using some rubber stamp in here because the texture. One of the things like looking at the photo reference is she has that wonderful like rim light around both sides of her head, and her hair is a little shadowy here. So if I just do it straight pen and ink rendering, it's going to look flat. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my lightest rubber stamp, and after I get the ink lines down sort of here, I'm going to. So all of a sudden she's a little bit darker and everything, and I'll just use white paint to pull out the highlights on the side of her face and her eyes, and it'll just trust me, it'll work. And I'll probably do the same thing with the breast here because everything else is white, so I'll let that be flat with the rendering. And there'll be lightning bolts in the front and lightning coming from inside these cages at the base. Lightning hitting these 3 balls. I originally just had 2 balls. I went, no, you know what? 3 balls makes it less, Yeah, so I'm really excited to get cracking on this. And yeah. So let me focus right on finding my glasses. Actually, there we go. So if I'm inking the face, and part of the reason I inked this before the stream is I wasn't 100% sure if my gut approach to the lightning towers was going to work. So I wanted to have a chance to get that out, so get that sorted before the stream started in case I need to print it out again and do a different approach. All right, so I need myself an extra fine Oto pen. There's a 3. Should I use the 1 or the 05? 005. Let's start with the 005. So this is I use these liquid ink ballpoints. I know I go over this stuff a lot with the people, but every once in a while there might be a new person. So this is a 005 liquid ink, really high quality ballpoint pen. So I get really good line quality from this. So I'm tempted. I wonder if I can. So I'm going to be working in the face. Let me zoom into the face so then I don't get in trouble for that slip further down. So a slight angle, but it allows me to come in up from this side. I'm going to move my photo reference closer because I do not want to make a mistake. Not in her face. All right. Let's start with the eyelash. Eyebrow, I mean, eyelashes. Okay. her makeup in this. You know what I learned today? Just random while I was like looking for additional anything I might use to run with this, enrich the piece and everything. I ended up doing a little reading on Elsa Lanchester. I didn't know she married Charles Lawton. I did not know she was Charles Lawton's partner. That was pretty cool. Lots of pictures of them together. And basically, it was I went, I want a picture of Elsa Lanchester smiling just to see like what happens in her face a bit. And there's a lot of pictures of her with Charles. Okay, one of the things I'm also going to be doing with the hair is I'll probably go really coarse with a solid black, like in these areas, and then I'll use an ultra fine white pen to pull out strands of hair to make that work just a little bit better. Her eyes are almost glassy black here. I think there's more you can see here in the reference. There's two highlights in the eye. With the lightning, I'm going to put in more, so I'm not being too precise with that because I'm going to use a little white paint on that later. There's going to be a lot of white paint effects on this. So I'm going to ink as much as I can tonight. So definitely your face, because I think that's a nice, sexy part to really get into. Make sure I get it right. And I'm also going to like these blacks are a little thin. I use my super chunky Sharpie black paint marker. And it's not as opaque as, say, Posco or Molotow, but it fills up a nice chunky area really well. And it needs two coats to get a good solid black out of it. But it's a great tool to have in my kit. Have to do a lot of like delicate, almost side of the ballpoint, so like almost a thinner line comes through to make sure that I get the values and tones the way I want them. God, I wish I could remember the last time I streamed it. I had to cancel so many, and then I was supposed to go on a vacation and ended up having to cancel a vacation. Same reason as everything else. It was heartbreaking. My son paid for everything. It was my birthday gift from him. So now I owe him a vacation because he lost it on his vacation too as a result. I love my boy. He's ever tell you guys how tall my son is? He's 6'7". I'm like 5'10" and a half. I used to be 5'11" before I turned 40 and started shrinking like so many people do. I'm actually over 5'10" and a half, but I'm rounding to the nearest. But yeah. And he's building me a Viking ship model for We Bring Only Death. It's great. He sent me some photos today. It's really coming together. Okay, so there's really light lines here. You know what's really good? It's I can look over. I used to turn my art to look at it in the mirror and see how everything needed to be tightened up or whatever. I can look at the screen here and just see. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's working. least I think it's working. Honestly, I think that corner of the mouth is a little low, so let me bring it down here. Here we go. It's got to be blacker. The upper lip is so black. It is so precise, this makeup she puts on. There's a pretty famous photo of her actually touching up her makeup. Oh, that little peak of the upper lip is a little too high. Gotta fix that. Turn this slightly sideways so I can make the lines here as comfortable as possible. And the shadow comes down there. It's a little darker there. Get that other eye right before I do the rendering on that side of the nose. Oh, one other thing that's kind of newsworthy, I guess, is basically I can talk about it. I'm going to be having, I've been running an exclusive sale for my Patreon supporters for the last week. There's going to be a slightly less good sale for the general public, probably for 2-3 weeks. I have some Neil Gaiman related pieces, some Sandman and other endless drawings. I've decided, considering all the news and the horror show that Neil Gaiman turned out to be, I found a local women's shelter that would appreciate some help. So if I can get anything for the Sandman pieces, I will be donating it to this local women's shelter. And I figured that's the best thing. It was either that or just throw away the pieces. Like that death piece I started a while ago. I can't find a reason to finish it. It's a little heartbreaking. Clearly not as heartbreaking as what he's done to people. But it's there's a certain sense of betrayal that comes with this, where it's like you think you can trust and respect this creator because he presented himself as so freaking ethical. Actually, you know what? If anyone doesn't want me to talk about this, just speak up. I can let it drop. But yeah, so starting Monday, I'm going to be promoting the let's get these nice drawings out. I think they're still nice drawings. I just who they're associated with makes it hard for me to hang on to them. I cut the prices in half. They're on the shop right now, but I'm going to be promoting it, and I'm going to do. I think I gave my patrons a 35% discount, so I think I'm going to give the general public a 25% discount for anything in the shop for maybe a month. And that latter part will probably just for me because again I've been sick a lot, so I'm thinking maybe it's a good idea not to burn through everything I had in my savings account. So that's the reason for that. So it's also yeah. Okay, I think that's that tiny little bump on the top of the lip that I'll have to shave that off a bit, but I think otherwise that's I think that's holding up pretty good. There's also that really dark shadow under the lip. I want to focus on this a little bit more. This gets darker. Then it merges up here, a little nice shadow. Get some eyelashes intended in there. Mm-hmm. Amazing dimple she has. My God, that's an amazing dimple. I mean, how do you compete with a chin dimple like that? That's just it's magical. Always a little tricky to make sure I get the lightly rendered shadow stuff done right. It's got to go a little darker here. Yeah, I think I went too high with the lower lid here. There's a little bit of reflection there, so it makes her eye look a little occluded, but I'll fix that in the white paint as well. Since I'm going to be putting white paint there anyway. Okay. I know she looks like a little disappointed, but that'll get fixed. Don't worry. She's like, really? Really? You want me to marry that? I'm the bride of that? Kind of had to lip. Joe asked for like the bride along the lines of one of my wishes. And she's not the bride unless she's completely swaddled, but I figured a little slippage would be what the doctor ordered, the Dr. Frankenstein ordered. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Dad jokes. Love the shoulder pads she wears. It threw off me. So what I did is I used this reference. Oh, where is it? Somewhere in here. I did a quick, really large drawing in pencil. Made sure I write it, shrunk it down, and matched it to the figure I developed here. And it's like those shoulder pads really throw off getting the proportions of the head right. It's a little weird. Actually, probably can jump from the 005 very soon. I just want to finish rendering around the neck. Okay. That's going to be the head. Now, let me show you what I'm going to do here with. Oh, let me put this piece of art before I screw it up. Yeah. So this is a 20% rubber stamp I made based on a 20% Letraset Zipatone screen. And what I want to do before I stamp it down is pick up. Where's my? Here we go. I tend to use Post-its as temporary masks for when I'm doing this. So I can just mark off, like, I don't want any rubber stamp going on the white areas. Don't have to be too precise about it. I can just do this. That I know there's going to be some rendering here in the middle, so I don't have to worry about that being too clean, so it can be messy. So I load up the rubber stamp, and I'll go make sure I get everything I want to get in there. I just smush it. I can even, oh, darn, my band is just slipping off here. Here we go. So I got a nice equivalent of a little gray tone there. All right. And how we doing? Oh, we're only at 7:30. Okay. So I should be able to at least, I think what I might do just to give some satisfaction, because if I do have to, call it short, I'll have it full down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely finish the head today. And whatever I don't get through today will be done during the week. But to finish the head, what it means is I'm going to finish rendering the hair. I'm going to do all the black area around here, and then I'm going to do the white paint effects. And I think at that point, everyone should really see like what I was planning through the whole thing. So that's the white paint. Here we go, black Sharpie. I can't remember if this is the really wet one. I think. Got to double check on the corner. I think it dries vaguely shiny, so then it wouldn't be the one to use. But yeah, it's taking a while to dry. I don't want to risk smudging, so I guess I can't. I like the shape of the brush and everything, but it's a little too much. So I'm going to do the edges with kind of like a bullet tip Posca paint marker. Now I use Posca's. I like the matte black. It scans better than any gloss inks, and a lot of matte inks are still too glossy for a decent scan. They'll catch bits of light from the scanner and everything. And but Posca and Sharpie, all these matte black paint markers, they scan so well. But they, ink is better. And actually, it's like I've tried. I think I still have the jar left. I went through. Oh yes, I do. Here we go. I've tried Eon's ink, and it's super thick. And and it's really really nice. It's nice black ink, but it's so thick. I have to thin it before I use it, and I'm always worried I'm going to over thin it, and it's not going to be doing what it's supposed to do. So I need more practice with it. So Eon's now selling it. That's beautiful. This is Eon paper, by the way. This is my favorite paper in the industry right now for comic pages. I buy the toothy stuff, but their slick stuff is also amazing. Yeah, so this is turning into a Eon promo channel, I guess. Not really, but you know what I mean. Oh, I forgot to mute my phone. Hopefully, it won't be too many sounds like that. I always feel those background noises when you see people being interviewed. I go, oh, I should turn that off. And then I don't do it, and I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I'm wearing the bandage because I was throwing out the garbage of it, and I nicked the top, my knuckle off the top of the garbage chute. So that was just me being sloppy and careless and everything. So, bleh, on me. Trying to think what the next best one to use would be. This one's got a little bit of this one's starting to dry out. I like this one, but it's starting to dry out a bit, so it's really good for like the dry brushy type stuff I'm about to try and do. Actually, you know what? You know what's better for this is one of my other brush pens. Yeah, here we go. So this is the Faber-Castell Pit Artist Pen Fude. And it's got this, I wonder if I can get it in close enough for you to see the tip. See, there's a weird kind of like bevel in the actual bullet point. Damn, it's not getting there, is it? Darn. So if I use it from the side, I'll do it in this black area up here. I get like almost 2 lines when I'm scribbling. And if I'm doing hair, it's rendering the hair for me. It's a great shortcut. It's I realize this. I think it was called Deviled Brush, where they would use a match to slightly burn away the razor sharp point of a Winsor Newton watercolor brush for inking. So they get like these. I think Mark Schultz uses it. You can see in some of Rosetta's pen and ink work and Al Williamson's, where they have like it looks like they're using 2 fine brushes side by side. And just want to make sure this stays on here. And it's such a great technique. But if I can simulate it with this, you get almost like a dry brushy effect with little lines. Hey Navajo, how you doing? I don't know your real name, so I'm just going to say the first part of your handle here. That's okay. Sorry. If you want me to use your name, just let me know. Just tell me too, so that kind of helps. next step. Grab one of my really chunky, but smaller chunky. Funny on my paint here. Oh, no, not that one, not that one. I need one of my chisel tip. No, the Molotov, I think, is a bullet tip. Yeah, I don't want to use that one. Use a chisel tip. I got a Posca chisel tip around here somewhere. There it is. I got to come up with a better marker storage system because I'm stirring them vertically, and that's a no-no because then the ink runs out and it screws everything up. So I'm going to get out like a horizontal pen storage system. And then that way, everything's not lying on my table now. A friend of mine pointed out that I was essentially killing all my stupidly expensive markers by storing them vertically. I was like, uh-oh. So I essentially dumped everything else on the table, and I just have to dig through piles of markers now. Now, I like to have this extra opaque. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sharpie and just give it another coat, nice solid coat of Sharpie black, which on top of the Posca black should make it nice and opaque. Now, before I do a white paint effects, what I really like to do is I realized a little coat of workable fixative seals the moisture, it kind of gives like a somewhat moisture barrier to the ink. So when I apply white paint, it doesn't reactivate the black paint I just laid down. So what I might do is run away as soon as this is all dry. And when I know it's all dry, I'll run away to the area where I have like a little spray screen. It doesn't really filter out a lot of the chemicals, but I wear a mask when I spray, and I have a mask there when I use it because I don't want to be inhaling that shit. It's supposed to be friendly, but can't really believe anyone on that stuff these days. But so I'll ink some of this. Pull this down here. I'll link some of this stuff up here while I'm waiting for all this to dry. Then I'll run off camera for a few minutes. Thank you so much, Nevo. I think I want to use a thicker pen. I don't need the 0.5 anymore. I'm going to jump up to. Do I want to use a 1 or a 3? I think a 3. Give me a nice bolder line to play with. You can see that I did some pencil work after I had it sitting there on the drawing table for a bit. I looked at it and went, I want to change things. I pulled the arm out a bit more. Wanted the fold to go a little bit. You can sort of see them. I'm working way off here. I'm working on an area I probably don't want on YouTube. Is that dry? That's dry. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for a second, and I'm going to hit just this area. Well, I might as well hit all this corner here. It doesn't matter. Hit all this area with the workable fix. If I use Krylon, when I'm working in ink, I tend to use the alcohol spray or I assume it's alcohol-based spray. If this is more of a drawing or something, or like a charcoal drawing, I'll use a pump action. So there's no aerosol. I think there's no aerosol. I use a different gas these days. I have to double check, but it just feels safer to use the pump spray for like pencil drawings and charcoal and stuff. So give me 1 second. I will be back. And then I'm going to do all the white paint effects on this. All right. So you can see it's now shiny. It's not fully dry yet, but it's pretty close. So it acts as like a little bit of a seal. So it's exactly what you want if you need a kiss from a rose on a grave. But don't. What's the line quality? Here we go. Now this is just the first stage using a pen. I don't really like these jelly pens very much, but I find them very inconsistent. They tend to just clog or just stop working. Maybe there's a trick I don't know about it, but I much prefer loading up a ruling pen with slightly diluted white gouache. But even then, doing a trick like that, you would be sitting here watching me do a couple lines, get it working again, do a couple lines, get it working again, and it's just so terribly inefficient. For the stuff I need to be 100% opaque, I will use a fine brush and some Pro White. Now, if I didn't spray, this stuff would be being soaked into the black paint. See what condition is. I haven't opened this for a couple weeks. I've been not working as hard as I want to. So yeah, so this is Dr. P.H. Martin's Blue Pure White. I keep calling it Pro White because that was a brand I used forever, but then they were out. And you know what? Hang on. I was really impressed with this. Why am I not reaching out for this first? I ordered this, and I found it really nice. The Kuretake White Ink 30. Look at that. Ooh, that's a real nice thick white. And the liquid's separating, so you have to stir that in a bit. But let me grab the appropriately fine brush. Have to wet this first. Here's a squeeze bottle. I keep water. And if you've watched me do any paintings, you know I keep these little targeted little water spray drippers or whatever you call them, just so I have immediate access to reasonably clean water right off the bat. Like sometimes I have I just did a painting the other day, and so I have a bucket of water here right now. That the David Lynch painting, if anyone's curious which painting I'm talking about, I finished it. So I have the bucket there. Normally I dump it right away, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do another painting right away or not. Wow, this settled. I'm giving it a big stir. If I had turned to be like some sort of super rich artist, I'd have an assistant who would like, his job would be to come in, okay, stirring all the white paint, and just do all that annoying stuff for me. I'd probably miss it. I kind of like setting up everything. All right, so we have freshly, I'm going to pop those bubbles out. Hang on. After stirring it, just kind of frothed up. Hopefully that's not too loud. A couple of snaps like that will pop most of the bubbles. Oh, here we go. What's there? I am not a court of law. I do not need a preponderance of evidence to convict him because my judgment does him no harm. He's everything he's done so far has been self-inflicted. And I think we have too long a history of people making excuses for men who do this and saying, oh, we have to wait for judgment. I really don't think we do. It's very clear. I mean, okay, at what point does it become acceptable that he sexually assaulted so many women? Like if one case, only one was proven true, does that make him a better person? I really don't think so. And considering having read everything now and also talked to people who know more than's been reported, I mean, it's a little awkward because it's like I do know some of the people that knew stuff that weren't talking and now they are. It's not good for anyone. If he wants to turn around and sue me, he'll lose. Because he did at least some of it, at the very least, to a provable level, and they are going forward with a court case. I'm not a newspaper. I don't have to hold myself to the high level of reporting standards that I believe newspapers should. Well, most of them, don't. I mean, we live in a world with Fox News and Newsmax and all that far right crap that's going around just lying to us about everything. So if I'm reporting what Vulture reported and it got vetted by their lawyers, I'm thoroughly confident they did their work. And I have no problem condemning a very powerful former Scientologist with a massive history of sexually assaulting women, and getting increasingly confirmed day by day. So, yeah, I don't have to wait for due process. Anyone that tells you have to wait for due process before you can contempt someone for obviously doing some horrible, horrible things, it doesn't really understand the point of due process. It's like if I was punishing him somehow, if I was able to incarcerate him for my reading on this, that would be wrong. That would be crossing a line. But I can't do anything to him. And if I fall along the lines that, like with Harvey Weinstein, I mean, clearly more than just smoke, it's fire. Um, it giving those powerful men who did all this damage to all these women more protection, to my mind, is just giving them the same level of protection that they had that allowed them to do these things for so long. I can't be that person. I can't let I can't um here we go. So you see I'm pulling the whites out of the eyes here again. And there is some highlights on her face here, so I can just add a little bit of white here, a little bit of white there. Is that out a bit? No, that needs to be whiter there. And this is where I get a little bloopy with the white because I want the blowout effects here. There you go, fixing that lip a little bit, fixing that eye there. I think that face is pretty much done. That's true too. I mean, Anzen's nailed it there. I think Anzen and I talked about this before or chatted online about it. It's um, simply put, I wouldn't trust a young woman around Neil Gaiman. I wouldn't trust. No, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't trust a young woman in the care of Neil Gaiman because of what he did, and I would feel negligent um, not warning more women because, oh my God, I was just oblivious for so long to all this shit. I mean, he was such an effective predator. He's literally, I mean, that story of he was always such a quiet, polite young man. I mean, he weaponized his creativity to take advantage of women. That's almost, I mean, Weinstein used his power to do what he did. Um, Kevin Spacey used his fame to get away with what he did. But Neil presented himself as this super champion of everyone he needed protecting, and then he goes and does this. And I think there's a special place in hell for people like that. And again, it's like I don't care if people agree or disagree with me in this, um, because you have to follow your own conscience. If you disagree with me for doing this, that's perfectly fine. But you have to understand I am allowed to do this because of just the way the world works. I mean, there is a chance he might get away with all of it. So if you're waiting for the court, I mean, like if you have a lot of money, you can. I mean, if you've been living in this world, you know full well if you got a lot of money, you can get away with a lot. and there's not much the courts can do. Look what just happened on the federal government level in the United States. It's have a convicted felon who's now sitting as president, and we're stuck with up to 4 years of watching this maniac destroy every norm in the world because no one was willing to do what it took to take him out for being a freaking criminal. Oops, what did this knock over here? Oh, yeah, screen pad. All right. And again, if this is too much for anyone else, yeah. I know you read Calliope and you realize that's Neil's sexuality writ large. Is horrifying, and I thought he was just describing predators he may have met. Knowing his background in Scientology, let me know that he comes from a culture of predating religious leaders, and that story actually broke down some of the shit his father did to him. Not pleasant at all. Take that round edge off there. Yeah, so it's if you're concerned that we're not giving him his due. He had over a year between the initial 3 stories breaking, and I think it's up to 19 stories. I don't know if 19 stories are included in the article, but as I understand, there's now 19 victims. And that's from people telling me that there's other people whose stories weren't included. If it's not enough for you, that's perfectly fine. But you have to understand it certainly is enough for a lot of people who feel that we've given too much latitude to these predators for too long. I'm making down there. I'm thinking, okay, so we're already at 10 minutes. What I might do is I might do the paint effects here for the lightning tower, because that might be interesting for you guys to see. Yeah, gaming. Yeah, Anson, right. You're absolutely right. He groomed everyone. He developed essentially. Geez, maybe I should put on my headphones. He developed this fan base that wouldn't believe anything that was said about him. It was just. I mean, he was Neil the Good. He was like raising money for the UN charities, and which I donated to, and he was doing all sorts of things for everything you hoped a good person would do. It seemed that he was doing. And then you find out he was doing all this really nightmarish stuff and hurting people to such a degree. Now, this one's still. Sometimes you get a Posca where the pigment's just mixed too thin. So this is good on some, but it's absorbing in through the fixative. Now, the Molotov white is a little bit more effective. It's not as sharp as that Posca though. So I gotta clean up dried on or built up gunk. There we go. What I'll also do is I'm gonna go into the ends there, fill in that black. I use the chisel tip here I got over here. Choose the Posca to fill in those edges. Yeah, splatter. There's going to be some toothbrush effects here. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for Amanda Palmer because as the story's coming out, she essentially handed him a lot of his victims. I feel I don't want to call them victims, but because it just diminishes them. But it really is the state of things. He's a predator, and when you a predator, you create prey and prey your victims. Let me pull this up here a bit so I can see what I'm going to be doing there. Hang on, maybe I should do this. Hang on. There we go. Now, since I'm going to be doing splatter, I want to mask off certain areas. I don't want to try and have to ink over. Damn, this Band-Aid keeps slipping off here. First Band-Aid I've been putting on here that hasn't stuck properly. So I'm going to use some white paper. I just use printer paper, or I find oh, here we go. Here's an old scrap drawing. So what I can do is I can mask off, literally just go like that. Use this old drawing and put a little bit of tape here and there. I also usually tape this down. Actually, you know what? Even better. I keep forgetting I got this stuff. This stuff is amazing. I picked this up at the dollar store. It's specifically for masking off areas when you're painting houses. It's like you pull out, it's got a little sticky tape on the edge, right? So a little sticky tape. You pull it out, and this unfolds to create a mask. So let me just quickly tape down the paper itself here. It's amazing how many non-art tools become really good art tools as soon as you realize the application's right there in front of you. Actually, I should use the green tape, not the blue tape. I don't want to mask off the edge, but I also want to stick it down. Oh, here we go. I almost never use this because it's buried in the bottom of the drawer I have for it. So this is apparently ultra low tack painter's tape. So it's less likely to damage paper, but the Eon stuff is so durable. It's great. If you guys are interested in trying Eon, I believe there's a link. I don't get anything from them. I just like the product. I have a bunch of links in the description of this video for different shops I go to, different supplies and everything. So yeah, if I was getting any money, I'd actually make a big point of saying I'm getting paid for that stuff, like affiliate links or whatever they call them. This is just me wanting to support people whose work or product I really, really enjoy. Like a lot of the books I show, like the concept art books and everything, I get those via Labyrinth, which is here in Canada, so it's not a great option. There we go. Here we go. So I'm just going to mask her off a bit. I know full well by just taping off an area, there will be a weird area like this that will be created. I can fix that. I've been playing with that stuff for a long time. I'm going to take a little bit more. I don't want any of the paint splatter to go in the areas I haven't inked because that can create problems. So what I do is I mask off anything I haven't worked on. Normally, this would be the very last stage, but I'm going to be finishing this piece during the week. Yeah, shit, look how long it took to get any sort of justice against Cosby. We live in a really broken system. And it benefits the wealthy. And they get away with so much. And at that point, it doesn't become just retribution against the wealthy. That's what we need Luigi's for. But we need, you understand, there's a justice system, and then there's actual justice. And we don't have real justice in this world. We just have what we call the justice system, which is woefully insufficient. All right, so I got water. You know what? My usual white paint mix bin got used for a different color. I don't want to mix it, so I'm going to grab a new cup over here. Buy a lot of these in bulk. And this one's full of dust, so I grab it this one. So what I do is I take a little bit of the white paint, I thin it out, and then I start whacking away with a toothbrush. I'm just going to find on my brushes. Oh, there it is. I use an old one like this. I wash them out every once in a while to make sure there's not extra dry bits flying around everywhere. So I'm going to reach into the bleed-proof white. Take out a scoop with the brush. Probably more than I need. Oh, shoot, there it is. I misplaced that. I just uncovered it by moving the tape. All right, so I don't need that. But I do need the water. So I got a bunch of gunky white. I got my old dry glass with lots of dried up bleed-proof white and white gouache in it. And I just kind of stir it around until I get the thickness of the material I need. And the brush scrubs the old paint, brings it to live, mixes it up really nicely. I know some people like to mix the splatter in a fresh every time so they don't have to worry about it. But I feel that this is long-term more efficient because sometimes there's so much stuff in here. I just throw some water in well in advance when I know I'm going to splatter, and it just activates everything. I just stir it up and it smooths it out. The toothbrush is really good for smoothing out dry paint. It just scrubs the pieces apart with the water. All right. I want to get the heavy chunks out. So I want fine mist to start with. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so my arm is probably going to block this a bit. So I'll pull it away frequently so you can see what I've done. Maybe I should also, I'm going to pull this up over to the angle. There we go. So I want very subtle splatters right in where it's thickest. So you got to be kind of careful. I know there's a thing you can add to your airbrush to get like really precise splatter effects. But I'm so frequently in that, like I just barely make do with my freaking airbrush when I'm actually painting. So I don't want to start coming up with other ways to screw everything up. I might even draw a few more little lightning zips in and out here. Okay, now I want a few bits of chunky spray. So I gotta load it up again. There we go. So I fill that space there, a little bit more noise. So there we go. We got some lightning. I ordered a copy. I found an older edition that has a nice cover. So instead of getting an ebook, I'm going to be reading that after I finish this Viking book. I'm almost done. This research book. I just almost finished taking the notes on it. But going to finish this. I believe you're just by the way the order of the commissions, you're third. But if I don't get a commitment on what the subject is for the second one, I'll be bumping up first. So I should, as soon as I usually can read a Moorcock book in about a day, 2 days. Because I mean, he's just that you can't stop reading as soon as you get into him. I mean, he's just that good. All right, so let me pull this off here so you can see exactly what I did, and you'll be able to see where that little that rectangular corner I warned you about. I'll see it here. Yeah. So you can see that little black space right there. But when I do this one and everything's fixed again, I'll let some splatter go across, and it'll work. Spark. Well, I would like to. I mean, you've been waiting. Technically, you guys have been waiting a year for these. I mean, I know you just might be paying for them, but I feel it's just. I mean, God, there's also that stupid thing about my health. I mean, there's so many things I wanted to do around Christmas for my Patreon supporters, and I still haven't gotten around to it because I'm still like playing catch up on just basic life and work shit. Oh, and we're down to 10 minutes. So where I'm going to go to next, I might do this tomorrow and just really spend a good solid work day on it. But I also have a couple things I got to finish for Death Tally. They're really late. They've been patient. So if I tomorrow, the order I'll be doing this in is I will finish the rest of this background area. So the second tower. Now that I've done this one, I know exactly how this one's going to go, which is great. And then I have these in the foreground, which are going to be a little more complicated. And I need these resolved. Let me pull back here so people can see what I'm talking about. So you can see it. So all the Universal Monsters machinery here in the foreground, they're going to be lightning hitting off of everything here. And so that means I have to do a lot of thinking and rendering and thinking through like these kind of curvy tubes that are always spinning around. I got to render all those and make sure I got this lightning bolt coming through here. So I'm going to be rendering around that. And as soon as these are done, then I'm going to go in and finish doing Elsa. And honestly, she's the easiest part of this whole piece at this point. Especially since originally I had her further back in the image with her legs coming forward, and it was just too much leg. It was just too much leg, especially considering you can barely see them because they're all wrapped in bandages. You're not even seeing sexy gams. I think that's the term for legs. Yeah. So the remainder of this probably just a nice 10 to 12 hour workday, and which is certainly doable if I have a good start in the day. So this will be done by next stream. Next stream, I'm going to double check with the other Patreon guy. Double check. I believe he did say what he wanted, but I wanted to get confirmation before I do it. So that might be next week. As soon as I get confirmation, I'll put the note up. What I might also do, because again, I don't have dancers yet. What I might do is I might just work on a We Bring Only Death page for you guys, so you can actually see the progress on that project. Yeah. So if you haven't already, please like the stream. Subscribe if you think you want to come back. If you like the idea of supporting me via Patreon, the basic almost everything except for the commission piece is just $1 a month. Every little bit helps, like struggling artists like me. And right now I'm going to be leaning in to Bluesky as my social platform of choice. I will be leaving everything Meta in the not too distant. I understand that Bluesky is adding their own version of Instagram called Flashes, and that's going to be the countdown for the end of my relationship with Meta as an active poster. I'm not going to delete the accounts; they're going to exist as placeholders pointing at Bluesky. And for those people who miss TikTok, Mark Cuban, that billionaire Mavericks basketball team owner, is working with Bluesky to develop a version of TikTok, which will also exist on the Bluesky server. So right now, Bluesky looks like the only good social media option, and who knows how long that'll last. I mean, I'm 57. I've lived most of my life without social media, so I'm okay if everything blows up and goes away. But I do like connecting with people. I've met so many lovely people through social media. So I do hope something stays around. And yeah, so next week I'll be working on preferably one of the commissions, or We Bring Only Death piece. So I'll probably post by Wednesday. Anton's been really good. Whenever I forget I make these things like the little ads I do or the YouTube title page. And then Anton's been really good about reminding me because he's just that good a person. I want you all to have an amazing week. I hope nothing stresses you out too much. I hope everything swings your way in the best way possible. Stay safe. Please, just because I'm following the current bird flu news, I'm worried about it. With the U.S. pulling out of WHO and RFK Jr. shutting down all medical research for apparently up to 8 years. That's his statement in America. So America will be, if the bird flu goes wide, America will be unprotected. And so before there's a rush, maybe you want to pick up a good box of masks and gloves, just in case. Just don't go crazy. I picked up an extra box of both, just in case. The H1N1 bird flu goes wide. So please be safe. All right, guys. Love y'all. See you in a week. And thank you so much for spending the evening with me. Take care.